While keeping our spirits high as we go ahead with today's lineup, one thing that I'd always seen here, the placement seasons at NIA, right? As a student sits for the process, something that is always there in their mind is, do you go the broking way or do you go the conventional insurance company way? So what do you do in that situation? A lot of us have had these questions, and while a lot of silenced minds are seen across the auditorium, let me tell you, our guest for today is here to spill the beans on how broking is a stellar option and how this, in case if you have any sort of entrepreneurial aspirations in you, broking is where you can also head. Our guest for today is a dynamic leader and visionary within the insurance industry, holds the prestigious position of Group Managing Director at Rohit Boda Group. Having joined the company in 2011, over the years he has established himself as a dynamic brokerpreneur whose realms stick not only to insurance but also to tech startups like ActoFit, fitness startup like SquatUp, and he's also co-founded Alpha Edge Consultants, which dabbles in blockchain as well. As a torchbearer of his family's legacy, he is also won the Young Broker of the Year award from Insurance Asia News as well in 2020 and 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, join me and put your hands together as we welcome the man himself, Mr. Rohit Boda. And we have a loud applause, guys. Let the auditorium echo as we welcome the man himself.
Hello. That is?
Right. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Before I begin, all credits to National Insurance Academy, Dr. Tarun Agrawal for this amazing platform, and wishing NIA a successful story ahead in the 44th Foundation Day. Brokerpreneurship. Okay, before we go there, all of you who don't know me, I'm Rohit Boda, the third generation of Rohit Boda Group. And what we do, we are predominantly insurance and reinsurance brokers. And we do some allied services in terms of marine and non-marine survey work, and we do protection and indemnity correspondent work. We've been a 1943 pre-independence era company, and through the 8 decades, we have seen a lot of ups and downs in terms of where the market was in 1943 when we were the only brokers, to the time when market opened up, to the time when we had partnerships. Things moved, things changed drastically over a period of time. The foreign investors, or rather the foreign partners, told us we need to gently part ways because they have their own plans. So it's not being more about broking, it's being more about an entrepreneur journey. I've wisely coined this term in last few years. So as the lady said, I've joined the industry in 2011, but brokerpreneurship was never the journey. Brokerpreneurship came in last 5 to 6 years, and there are reasons behind it. Let's first start with the growth story in India. We do direct broking as an organization. We do direct broking in India, and we do reinsurance broking globally. But before we go to the complex conversation of reinsurance broking, we first talk about the growth story of India and why it is so important for a direct broker to know its own country first before going abroad. Tarun Saab was mentioning just before a few minutes that I'm out of the country more than 120 days. I've been traveling a lot, but what I've observed in last 3 or 4 years is the brand India and the importance of brand India on the global platform is way too big to even imagine. And there are reasons for it. And one of the biggest reasons is our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. He has been an ambassador in such a way that today it is any country on earth you step and you say you are an Indian, you have that people at the way of looking at you. So India, in terms of every industry that you see today, agriculture, on which majority of the population relies on, healthcare, technology, infrastructure development, new engineering projects coming in, the equity and the capital markets, the investments coming in the country. You name it and India has it. Now, for a broker, predominantly for an insurance broker, it is so important to learn the multifaceted industries that the nation is dealing in or the nation is intending to grow. You might be a property underwriter, you might be an engineering underwriter, or you might be a liability underwriter, but you need to have a touch base of all the aspects of what India is doing. And that is how, if we see the healthcare space, the agriculture space, the big conversation of penetration of insurance in the country, what Mr. Debashish Panda, our IRDAI chairman, is doing, the whole focus is on penetration. And penetration will, of course, not come if the economy is not growing. And any investment banker you go to, or any financial planner you go to, insurance will always be at the bottom, which we all know, because it's a push product in India. We have our legacy, we have our own mindset and psychology of buying insurance. But as a direct broker, especially, no, I'm not talking about the retail broking part, but as a direct corporate broker, when you're going to deal, say for instance, an engineering corporate, you need to tell where the risks are. We need to tell what are the terrain zones they are in, how is the climatic conditions. The reason is this is all giving birth to entrepreneurship. Because going to an engineering client and only talking about the engineering stuff is going to give you a limited horizon to pitch on other opportunities. So when you are having a knack of different things, you have a broader horizon in terms of your conversation. You go to a healthcare industry, you go to a tech company. Today, AI, ML, robotics. This is my personal opinion. They're more of a fad. And of course, the game of valuation has jacked up everything by 3 times, 5 times, 7 times just by putting the word AI, ML. I'll tell you a very simple story. Just 2 days back, around 11:30 p.m., we were having a call with one of the US firms. And we had a first round of conversation with them. And they're trying to inject an AI layer into the health claims. What is the basic requirement of a health claim or data analysis? The basic requirement is data hygiene and clean data. We started with the conversation of they pitching the product to us. The conversation moved on. Then it went up to, then they had a one-to-one conversation with me telling that we are planning to raise investments for the company, etc. When we realized what they were actually doing, we realized that there were 7 or 8 such companies already doing this stuff in India. The point is, just by adding AI, ML, you cannot jack up the valuations. If you have an entrepreneurship angle, if you're part of the startup community, if you're part of the MSME community who are raising funds every now and then, or PE funds, VC funds, you will immediately get hold of these guys. These conversations eventually land up helping you in having a conversation with your client on the direct broking side. So it's not about broking. Is what happened in 1943, what my predecessors did was very different form of broking. For that matter, even when the market opened up in 2000, 2001, even that time, the definition of broking was very different. Today, brokers are hiring people from every industry, even if they're going to that depth. If they want to focus on steel industry, they'll pick up a person from steel industry. If they want to go into the agri space, they're hiring people from the agri space. Now coming to the technological part, today broker cannot be wary of technology. You have to be there. You don't have an option. Social media and tech so as I always say, data is the new oil and attention is the new currency. And we are in today's times where it's the easiest way to gain anyone's attention and make money. The big question is how? How are we going to make money? And there are all of this that we just spoke, agri-tech, health-tech, med-tech, red-tech, insure-tech, fintech, infra-tech, every agriculture angle, every healthcare, all the emerging risks that I keep talking on, carbon credit, blockchain, ESG, genetically modified crops, the gene testing methods, what the world is developing, the anti-aging, the investment in anti-aging you see today, all of this globally is having a massive risk element in it. Now tell me, you're going to go to a client. You cannot just go to a client with a property risk, do a quote comparison sheet and, win the business. That's not broking anymore. You will win the business for first year, okay, second. Okay, third year you will say, चलो इतने 2 साल का संबंध है, तीसरे साल ले लो. चौथे साल वो बोर हो जाएगा. I can write it on a paper. क्योंकि आप 4 महीने पहले जा रहे हो रिन्यूअल के, आप वही डिस्कस कर रहे हो उनके साथ, और क्या क्लेम्स है, क्या लॉस रेशियो है, अर्निंग कॉस्ट बेसिस पे आपने प्राइस कर लिया, story over. When the broker sitting next to you is coming up with a basket, you're not going to sell the whole basket. You're going to sell insurance eventually as a broker, but these are all complementary or, supplementary talks that you have with the client so the client knows that you are aware of the industry. All of this has a massive risk element. And in my opinion, not because I'm from the fraternity, of course, that's one of the big reasons, but in my opinion, the best way to transfer a risk is through insurance. It is the right way. You give me any other way of transferring the risk. Any answers are invited. You want that. The simplest, because the fraternity, brokers, insurance companies, reinsurance companies, MGAs, all of us have built this expertise from people from the various communities. I mean, we have so many treaty and fact underwriters who have engineering background, who have TED background. There's a reason. They learn insurance in the process, but they come from a different background. They come from their expert skill set and then they inject insurance into it. And then, of course, the whole process of insurance to go. So, as a direct broker, this is all broking and entrepreneurship. Now, this is all the part of the direct broking show from the Indian parlance. Now, reinsurance broking. How many of you in the audience are actively reading about reinsurance? You just need to raise hands.
Yeah, me too. To the ball. Yeah.
Dr. Saab, of course, you not raise hand, we know you reading. I was just reading your report when I was coming in the car, the BIMTech report. So, see, of course, with the experts, apart from that, there's not a single hand raise. I was just telling someone backstage, the nation has no idea about how big the reinsurance industry is. It's not even a river or a sea, it's an ocean. And you cannot make a career out of it, you can make a fortune out of it. And I can really tell you that it is possible. For us, we are Indian-based brokers, and I have always been selling every time I go to an internal meet, or every time I go to a global platform, that we are an Indian brand. And I'll give you a simple example. All of you, once in your life, might have heard from anyone, be it Ernst & Young, be it Deloitte, or be it any engineering firm, we are Germans, we are Americans, we are an American firm, we are a European firm, we are a firm who our headquarters are in London. When they come to India, they take the country with them. And from the reinsurance broking perspective, that is what we do. The first thing we sell is brand India. And today, especially after G20 summit, the brand India is at next level. And apparently COP33 is to be hosted in India. That is what Mr. Narendra Modi has proposed. So reinsurance broking is highly global in nature. And all of you do not know to some extent about reinsurance in India is because there's only one company, GIC, who have been historically in the region since so many years supporting the market. But reinsurance broking, selling brand India, so as I said, we sell brand India, then we sell brand Rohit Boda. It's always the chronology that we try to maintain in an international platform all year. Thank you. I truly feel that when I go to US, when I go to Europe, when I go to Africa, when I go to Middle East, I should be taking pride. If somebody's taking pride, and that's our ministers, our foreign ministers, for taking brand India so much aggressively in the market, we as an industry are peanuts. Then why shouldn't we? So we do this, we regularly do this. And I have a very deep belief in the brand India and brand JB as well. So when we travel abroad, we deal in around 75 countries globally. And reinsurance broking, again, the way I said in direct broking, that you cannot have a code comparison chart and just, come back. You need to talk tech, you need to talk insurtech, you need to talk finance, investments, etc. Exactly the same way in reinsurance broking, it's not about treaty and fact. So in last 3 years when I started, so I run a personal fund. I run a called RB Ventures in my own personal capacity. And what I have realized is that in the reinsurance broking space, when you talk arbitration, reinsurance is a byproduct. You don't need to discuss reinsurance. Reinsurance is all about relationships. I mean, some of the experts sitting in the front row would agree to that. You never need to sell reinsurance. You have relationships built in the right manner, in the right solution at the right time, and you don't need to sell reinsurance. So, and majority of the conferences that we attend are each meetings are for 30 minutes. This is again a thing that I always say. Have you planned your 30 minutes? What are you going to talk in those 30 minutes? Are you going to only pitch treaty and fact? In 30 minutes you can't pitch, you can't destroy a relationship. For 10 minutes you can talk reinsurance. What about the next 20? Okay, weather, cricket, football, done. Next 5 minutes. You still have 15 minutes. How are you going to utilize that? This gives birth to an opportunity which is way beyond traditional reinsurance broking. So I'm going to get a little bit complex now. In global market, if you see the climatic conditions, if you see the ESG goal of the company, if you see the weather patterns, El Nino, La Nina, predominantly cat events, these cat events have a significant impact in our fraternity, insurance and reinsurance both. But historically, what used to happen, the Western world, the Nat Cat used to emerge in a Western world, the losses got paid in the Western world, and the renewals continued. The reinsurance market was sailing through. Pandemic, inflation, geopolitical instability, cost of capital, investor sentiments, all has been heavily shaken. And these all aspects are interconnected. My cost of deploying the capital today is way much higher in the Western world than the cost of capital I deploy here in the emerging world. First. Second, legacy money. The emerging world has legacy money. The Western world does not. Where I'm coming from is, the losses that used to come in the Western world used to get paid in the Western world and things used to get settled down. Now things have changed. The Western world investors or the reinsurance market investors are not investing or pumping money the way they used to. And the reasons, as I just mentioned. So what next? The theory is very simple. You will see an American firm investing in Middle East, Africa, India. That's always what the media shows. There's another angle. The emerging world is now investing in London, Europe and US. The flow of money has moved from instead of year to year, it has moved year to year. And it is moving, and it's not from theory, but we are actually working on projects where we are moving the emerging market investors to emerged world investors. So these losses, where are they going to go? The reinsurance market is hard. The reinsurance market is super complex. Rates are going nowhere. Cat rates are going above the sky. Deductibles, very complex. You see the Turkish earthquake, Moroccan loss, everything is a disaster. And the capacity, as I said, the way it used to flow is not flowing easily. It is taking a lot of time. So, apart from the reinsurance capacity, in the Western world, there are other risk transfer products. One is bond. I'm sure a few of you might have read on what a catastrophe bond is. Then we have ILS, that is insurance-linked securities. And then we have something called as ILWs, insurance loss warranties. All of these are capital market products, but reinsurance capital market products. And then there are sidecar vehicles. So what I do is, what will an American firm do? An American firm will say, I have a lot of losses, my losses are getting accumulated, my reinsurance cost is getting too high, I am unable to pay my reinsurance cost. Okay, so what's the solution? So what will these guys do? They'll open a vehicle, they'll open an SPV in Tat 7 jurisdictions. Excuse me. So Bermuda, Guernsey, British Virgin Islands, partly Singapore, Dubai. And these vehicles will have an element of internal funding and external funding. So if I am into crisis and if I'm not getting a reinsurance capacity, I'll be the sponsor of the vehicle, I'll pour in $1 million. And then I as a broker, I will say, "Aap 1 million arrange kar lo, baaki ka 9 million main arrange karke deta hu." So what I do is I'll go to investors. So this is reinsurance capital market broking. I go to the investors, I'll tell them, this is a vehicle, this is the performance of the vehicle, these are the set of underwriters who are going to write business from the vehicle, this is how the investment pattern of the vehicle is going to be, this is your ROI, this is your underwriting structure. An entire plan of the vehicle is created and you start writing business from them as if the vehicle is a reinsurance company in itself. But instead of the internal capital, the vehicle has internal and external capital. So this is how an SPV operates in the West. Now I have always been very vocal about establishing a cat bond in India. So, and I still through this platform, through the Ramzab, it is always an eager drive to do this, but the biggest question is hedging of the cat bond is not giving them returns. But today not everything gives you return. I mean, unless you are investing or saving your money in an FD, that's a different story. But there are investors who are willing to take risks. Cat bonds, from the catastrophe perspective, climatic changes, look, weather is a reality and climate is a business. So all of this, through SPVs, through ILS vehicles, through ILWs, we need to get this to India. We need to get this to the emerging markets. And India is the big brother of the emerging market. Be it Africa, Asia, Middle East, everywhere. And now we are the 5th largest economy in the world. In spite of the fact that 5th largest economy in the world, 1.5 billion population, not even a single hand was raised this forum about reading on reinsurance. It's a very virgin fraternity to be in. Because today, insurance is there because aggregators through their valuations put in posters on cricketers, they have jacked up a lot of buying behavior of the consumer. But when it comes to reinsurance, don't expect any glamour. It's all behind the camera. You will never know what is happening to an insurance company and how much is the influence of reinsurance broking on the insurance company. They always go hand in hand. Something happening in Mexico will have a direct significance in Nepal. Like literally direct significance. That's how fascinating reinsurance world is. So when we get into the space of investment, when we get into the space of equity markets, when we get into the space of captives, MGAs, mutuals, a fantastic initiative by the government of India on establishing a special economic zone, it's picking up. Still, in spite of all the provisions SEZ has, there's not a single reinsurer there. It will come. Things take time to change. So the vision of the IRDI chairman to make reinsurance, the GIFT City as a reinsurance hub is getting there slowly. So reinsurance is very wide. And Apart from all this, 100% FDI in insurance broking. Now again, this is the same story. Today, Western world investors, brokers are coming here. I'm 100% sure all of you are hearing a lot of stories about brokers getting merged, merger acquisition, insurance companies getting opened up. I, standing here in front of you guys as an Indian, cannot be having foreign investor, broker coming to India and telling us what to do. And India is not a small economy. India is a giant-sized economy. We don't have dearth of skill set. We don't have dearth of manpower. And above all this, we don't have dearth of investments. So we should be doing it. And I think, in my opinion, we are already late. But we all know they are Durustha, but we need to get there. We need to get in these aspects of opening vehicles. You're talking about MGAs today. What MGA are you planning to open? A reinsurance MGA or an insurance market MGA? If you're talking about penetration, then your best solution is a direct insurance MGA, which is again a massive business in itself. I'm sure all of you students, you all know what an MGA is, how an MGA operates. It's not only about reinsurance broking MGA. The direct broking MGA is another massive distribution channel that can be looked at in India. So with 100% FDI coming in, I'm proud to be saying that we are a 100% homegrown Indian conglomerate. And thank you. And still going in layman terms, we are the Desi brokers. But the whole vision is to go Videsi and get all of that to India. So that's one of the prime reasons that when I travel, I try to bring all these expertise, these things to India. Then a community, we build the right people, we build the right stakeholder ecosystem who are willing to look at the next 10, 15, 20 and 25 years, not only in terms of the personal growth, but community growth, as well as from the country's standpoint. So this is very important when we at JB, for me also as an individual, we learn so much. We live learning, we die learning. So till we die, this is all going to be a process. We are not experts in these things, but we know that these things are happening. India, you see the Kerala floods, the Uttarakhand losses, and then you see the insurance pricing, then you see the reinsurance pricing. Everything is going above the sky. And of course, the big daddy inflation. So this all is very much interrelated. This all is highly connected to each other. And only broking is not the solution. And every one of you sitting here is an entrepreneur in itself. So getting the world of entrepreneurship, getting the world of broking gives birth to brokerpreneurship. This is what I generally say, that you need to have your right side of the mind thinking about as a broker, and then on the left, you need to think as an entrepreneur. And at the end of the day, look guys, you have to decide what you want to do and where you want to go, what are your goals and what you want to achieve. There are always two sets of people, right? One is they have their own ways of doing things, the others have their own ways of doing things. But you need to be at the center and merge all of these and then give birth to something in the broking, in the insurance. Even if you are working for an insurance company tomorrow, even as I said, even if you are a property underwriter, you need to know what is happening in Web3. You need to know what is happening in NFT. And you need to think completely out of the box. So I have this very crazy idea that I was sharing with someone. Look, today an insurance actuary prices an insurance product. Okay? And the actuary slogs themselves or herself and devises this product. Next year, what happens? The same product with some comma full stop taken by another insurance company. So what I was telling, since I have my interest in early investors in blockchain and NFT, I was telling them, if an insurance company is devising, attach an NFT key to it. Once you attach an NFT key, then it's your proprietorship. Nobody else can use these products. So these all things we are trying to bring to the world of insurance, to the world of Indian insurance market. The Indian Blockchain Alliance is doing a lot of work. The Indian Carbon Market Association is doing a lot of work. We also deal in carbon credit. Carbon credit, we did not started doing carbon credit since 1943. Never. We started doing work in the carbon credit space in the last 24 months. Now the world has gone so much ahead that we have companies who are insuring the sequestered carbon on the forward purchase contracts for the delivery of the carbon after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This might sound, it is actually very complex. It is a reality as well. So how far are you willing to stretch your mind? How far are you willing to go in terms of thinking mad is totally on you. And if you are entering the space, you have to be mad. And you have to be consistently mad each day. Otherwise, it is impossible because competition is brutal. The world is moving at a very fast pace. Nobody is stopping. And you need to be there. If you have to be there and if you want to genuinely be there, you have to think in this manner. So this is all brokerpreneurship. This every aspect of last 15 minutes, that I spoke, is all brokerpreneurship. I never distinguish myself as a broker. I never just say I'm an entrepreneur. My actions might look as an entrepreneur, but I always, because it's in my blood, I always land up discussing about risk transfer and insurance and reinsurance. Even if I'm going to meet an equity investor, I cannot insure a pure risk. I cannot insure a speculative risk. I will eventually land up talking about what are your risk management strategy. So this is all what brokerpreneurship is all about. Last thing before I conclude, thank you once again, Dr. Tarun Agrawal, Tarun's Academy. And I have a quote which I always end by saying, sky was never the limit. Everything that lies beyond the sky is yours, the future. Thank you guys. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rohit, for taking us beyond the borders when it comes to broking. And I think something that all of us will leave the room with is broking is just not where you make your career, rather it's where you make your fortune. That is something I really liked. And we have brighter smiles.